Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. Today I want to share with you guys my King Piccolo build. We just got this stuff revealed the other day, right? So it's definitely super early for some set 12 content, especially considering it's coming out in January. But there's just some stuff about this leader that made me really want to try it out. Particularly, it's just all the weird stuff that this deck does, like flipping your life face up and starting the game with 6 life. There's a lot of weird stuff here. This is also going to pretty much count as our like King Piccolo archetype overview video. We pretty much always look at all the new cards when they come out in a set, and we usually give that its own video. But since I'm doing the deck profile, and since this pretty much includes all the King Piccolo stuff in it, we'll kind of treat that as the same video. So pretty cool. You guys actually get a build out of that video as well, which is really nice. But yeah, this is the video. This is the deck I played yesterday in the coaching series video. This is an updated version. I'm probably about like 15 games or so into this deck. Again, I just really wanted to play it because it's so strange and so weird. I can't even think of a better way to describe it. But this is definitely a work in progress. I think it's pretty solid where it's at right now, but you'll see that in the deck profile, guys. If you are new here, definitely subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a video. And if you want to help the channel out, guys, if you want to pre-order any of the set 12 stuff you need for this deck or buy into the cards you see in this video, go down to the description, use my link to TCG Player. It really helps out a lot. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys that does that for the channel. That being said, let's get started reading the leader. Again, very weird. Permanent, you start the game with 6 life. So you're starting at a lower life total. They probably did this because they were a little bit afraid of how powerful rejuvenation is. Honestly, in this deck, I don't use rejuvenation all the time. If I do, it's only once per game, never usually more than that. In some games, you don't even do it. Some games, you don't need to do it because you're kind of just already at that place where you need to be. And this deck very much feels so like one of the decks that, you know, you kind of have to get past this like turn 2, turn 3 hump. And if you can get there pretty healthily, you're gonna pretty much start taking over the game, which is really cool. So auto, when this card attacks, you may choose up to 1 red Namekian or Demon Clan in your hand and place it in your life face up. If you do, add 1 card from life to your hand. So no raw draw power there. You actually just break even, but you get to put cards in your life that you need in your life. The draw power of this deck, there's actually quite a lot of it, and it comes from other sources outside the leader generally. We'll talk about that later. So awaken when it lives to 2 or less, or you have 2 or more life flip face up, which is actually very easy to get to. You can oftentimes get there by like turn 2 as long as you attack twice with your leader. You may draw 3 cards, then place top card of your deck in your life and flip this card over. So he has like his own rejuvenation effect, which is nice. They kind of made up for the fact that he starts at 6 by giving him his own like rejuvenation. King Piccolo, demonic rejuvenation. Auto, when this card attacks, choose up 3 red Namekian or Demon Clan cards in your hand and place them in your life face up. Then add that many cards from light to hand. So no beating around the bush here. Once you're on your backside, you get to like just perfectly fix your life, which is honestly amazing. Like there are a lot of times you'll have all of your life face up. Sure, your opponent can see it, but I mean you're the player that has to do this stuff with the cards in your life, right? So knowing where it's all at, not having to guess like, oh, I flipped this up, I flipped this down, what card was that again? That's more like a launch problem. But anyways, the activate battle here, once per turn, if you have a red Namekian or Demon Clan card flip face up in your life, that's the cost. Place the top card of your deck in your life face up, then combo with 1 face-up red Namekian or Demon Clan in your life. So it's almost like a rejuvenation effect, but you do have to take a card out of your life. But when you do that, you're basically getting a free 5k combo out of it, and normally, you know, putting a body on the board after that, which we'll talk about as we get into the deck profile. So here are your early turn plays. These are your pretty much hard mulligans. The number 1 hard mulligan is Piccolo Jr. Descent of the King. He's the most important card of the deck, but basically we'll go from left to right here. So King Piccolo, Dragon Ball Obsession. He's a 1-drop you can go for when you don't have your Piccolo Unison. But if I don't have him, I'd rather play Piano on 1. But real quick, King Piccolo, when you play him, look at top 5, add a Namekian or Demon Clan or a Unison, red Unison, cost of 2. So he is good for turn 1 if you need to find your Unison, but if I have my Unison already, I'd much rather go with Piano. Piano is where you get a ton of draw power in this deck. So he's a unique 1-drop, auto once per turn. If your leader card's a red King Piccolo, when a card is placed in your life face up from any area other than your life, draw 1. Notice that's an auto, and you can proc that during your opponent's turn, so that's where you're drawing a lot of your cards. If your leader card's a red King Piccolo and you flip 1 face-up card your life face down, when this card is placed in your drop area from your battle area by an opponent's skill, play this card from your drop area with its skills negated. So this is really cool. I talked about this with some like the Huragan stuff. This is how you can kind of get around counterplay, because yeah, this guy doesn't have barrier, doesn't have deflect, so he is vulnerable to counterplay. But if they use like a Yamcha counterplay on him, or if they hit him later on with the Yamcha counterplay, or they use Frieza Charismatic Villain, you can basically bring him back to the field, which is very nice. And then Piccolo Jr. Descendant of the King. This is the probably the best card of this deck. It's honestly insane unison in general. This is going to make red a ton better. There are so many decks like Red Gogeta, for instance, that just needed a good turn 2 unison. This card's amazing. So auto, when your opponent activates a counter skill, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 15,000 power or less and KO it. So if they use Charismatic Villain or any counter really, you're just, you know, popping their board. It's incredible. +1, activate main, draw 1, very reminiscent of Baby Unknown Parasite, just a good +1 that draws. Can't ask for much more. And then activate main -2, choose up to one of your red battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less, then choose all of your opponent's battle cards with power less than or equal to the chosen card and KO them. So kind of like a mini board wipe for small guys. And then this card gains Rejuvenate. Once per turn, remove 2 cards from this marker for the turn. So it adds Rejuvenate as like a separate skill, not like a marker skill. So you can then use it in the same turn by minusing other 2 markers. You also have to have a card underneath your unison in order to do that, but there's a lot of ways in this deck to do that. Namely, for the first thing you can do is you can take another copy of your unison, put it under Piccolo Jr., give it a marker that way, then there's a card underneath it to remove and use Rejuvenate, right? So again, we don't use Rejuvenate too much in this deck, but it is an option. Most of the times we're just drawing 1. So between Piccolo Jr. and Piano, these are how we're getting the majority of our hands. Like early in the game, you're going to have a pretty low hand size, like 5, 6-ish cards, you know, hopefully that's where you're sitting around. But once you get both these guys on the board and start doing what the deck's supposed to do, your hand blows up, and that's when the deck becomes really, really fun. So moving along here, Attack of the Demon Clan. This is an extra card. It can clunk because you are red. We don't have a ton of energy manipulation in the deck, but you want to be really smart about your energy in this deck for this card. So if your leader's a red King Piccolo, place 1 red Demon Clan with energy cost of 3 or less from your deck in your life face up. That triggers Piano to draw, by the way. And then combo with 1 red face up Demon Clan in your life, then shuffle your deck. So essentially, for the 1 red extra card, you're essentially saying, okay, any of these guys that are in my deck, they're in my life now, I combo with them, put them onto the board, because they all say when they're comboed from life, put them into play. So the nice thing about Attack of the Demon Clan is that it grabs any of these that you need. That's why we're playing this ratio of these Reign of Terror guys, Tambourine, Cymbal, and Drum. So 3, 3, 2 here. Tambourine and Cymbal are the far better ones. Drum is okay. But since Attack of the Demon Clan can grab any of them, that's why we're playing these ratios. You don't really need to draw a ton of them. You will draw some of them over the course of the game, and that's where your leader can put them into your life on the Unawakened side. But anyways, Tambourine, unique. At the end of the battle, where this card's combo from your life, play it. That's on all of them. Auto once per turn. If your leader card is a red King Piccolo and you have either 3 or more face-up cards in your life or a red unison in play with cards under it, when this card attacks, switch to active mode and it gains plus 5,000 power for the turn. So kind of like that Digging Deep Vegeta effect, but for 0 energy. That's super good. And that's one of the big draws to this deck, is that you play guys for free, right? So he swings twice for 20k. If you have that condition, very good, for especially for a combo. We'll read in a little bit. Cymbal does not have unique, so you can play multiple of him to the field, which is nice. Activate main once per turn. If your leader card's a red King Piccolo card, choose up to 1 of your red unison cards with Rejuvenate in its skill text, and you may place 1 red Demon Clan from your drop area under it. If you do, draw 1, then add 1 marker to the chosen unison. Absolutely amazing. You want to do this thing every single turn. Free draw, free unison markers. It helps you get there, Rejuvenate, if you need to get there to put more life, because sometimes you will get pressured hard. Like, I've actually played this against mostly aggro decks, right? Like, you're playing like a low life deck. You want to test it against what would probably be the worst matchup. That's going to be aggro. So you do start at 6 life. That is a little bit of a downside. I mean, it's definitely a downside, but you do have ways to get around it, particularly Cymbal, giving your unison the ability to rejuvenate much more easily. And then Drum, Reign of Terror. We're playing 2 of this guy. A lot of people told me to not play it. Like, I was building this with my teammates and they said, I wouldn't probably play that guy, but he's solid because, again, Tambourine has unique, Piano has unique. So with Attack of the Demon Clan, you want to be able to get your different guys into play. And he's a barrier blocker, so that's always pretty solid. Plus, when he comes in, he gives something -10, so that can remove a little guy, or, you know, just make a bigger attacker way less threatening. So he's solid for defense. You know, for 1 energy, I'll gladly pull a barrier blocker out of the deck, especially since I am starting at lower life. I do want to kind of be a little bit more protective of my life, right? So this all works out quite well. I like this ratio a lot. King Piccolo, the new ruler. This is draft box 6 stuff. Of course, it's King Piccolo. It synergizes very, very well with the deck. You can play it super easily. You can also search it with a 1-drop Piccolo we read earlier. You can also search it with King Piccolo, Time to Fight. He's a 4-drop EX evolve for 1 red over a King Piccolo with energy cost of 3 or less. So notice 3 or less. You can evolve him over a new ruler. You can also evolve him over the 1-drop King Piccolo that we saw earlier. So what's nice is you can put him over new ruler, and that gets around new ruler's thing where it sends him to the warp at the end of the turn, right? So that's really good good there. When a card evolves into this card, add up to 1 red Namekian or Demon Clan with energy cost of 4 or less other than copies of this card, or 1 red Unison with a specified cost of 2 from your deck to your hand, then shuffle. So being a straight up search when you play it is excellent. A lot of stuff in Dragon Ball doesn't really have like strict searches, so that's great. Problem is though, like I've noticed in games where you miss your Unison on turn 2, you're really hurting. Like that can be a really big setback. So you'd have to play like you have to play King Piccolo, the 1-drop on turn 1, right? Then you can play this guy, Time to Fight, on turn 2. That would leave you the ability to play your Unison on 3, and yeah, that hurts. But it's an option there if you need it, but it does hurt. Auto once per turn, when this card's played or attacks, choose 1 red Demon Clan in your battle area, and it gains plus 20,000 power for the turn. So it's no problem there to like swing with your King Piccolo New Ruler and then evolve this in rest mode, because once you do that, he still gets both of his autos, because the first time you boost something to 20k, that's going to be triggered when you play him, right? And that's great because you want to boost Tambourine to 40k. That's really important. Tambourine boosts himself by 5, this guy boosts him by 20. That puts Tambourine at 40, which is important for King Piccolo Evil Dictator. So we're playing 3 copies of him, 6-drop, 25k, deflect, double strike, dual attack. When this card is removed from your battle area by a skill or KO'd, play up to 1 red face-up Piccolo Jr. card with energy cost of 4 or less from your life. Activate main, pay a red. If your leader card is a red King Piccolo card and you choose any number of red Demon Clan cards in your battle area whose total power adds up to 40k or more and place them in the owner's drop areas, wow, that's a mouthful, play this card from your hand. So kind of like Successor, except it looks at Demon Clans that have high attack power. So you can sacrifice like a tambourine, a drum, and like a symbol, sure. But if you boost Tambourine to 40 via his effect and Time to Fight's effect, that's the main way you want to play this guy onto the field. Being a 1 energy play is so good. Like Deflect obviously makes him great against blue, and then when he's KO'd, like if they use Frieza Charismatic Villain, you're even protected there as long as you have Piccolo Jr. Eradicator of Peace in your life face up, which is very easy to do, especially with our leader effects, especially on the Awakened side of the leader. So this guy, another draft box 6 card. Your leader's red, you can't ever hard cast this, which kind of sucks, but it's not that important. You don't ever really want to hard cast it, you just want to play it off Evil Dictator, so that's why we're playing 2 copies. I think it's the best Piccolo Jr. you could play for that effect, so we're playing 2 copies for that reason. Next up, guys, for some of the tech stuff, we have 2 Broly Crown Retribution. This is a Marcus tech special. He told me I should play it, and it is really solid. A lot of people are playing Floodgates right now. Topo, Heroic Prospect, Trunks, Gohan Baby's Minion, Vegeta Ready to Rumble. This card is great against those types of decks. Yamcha Merciless Barrage. Man, at first, like in set 10, I thought this counterplay was great. Like, I thought it was a big sleeper counterplay that people just weren't paying attention to, but I've just noticed that this counterplay, it's so good in the right scenarios, but so dead in the wrong ones. It's just really problematic, but I would always rather have it than not, so we're playing 3 copies. I'm playing Raditz Sand Youth as a super combo. I'm not playing the new Krillin from set 12. That one specifically allows you to combo with it, draw 1 if you have a Unison in play, and then you can put it underneath a red Unison with Rejuvenate in its skill text. I'm not playing that because we have plenty of other ways to get cards under our Unison, namely the Unison mechanic itself or the symbol. And Krillin is so specific in that you really need to have the Unison in play, otherwise it's a dead combo, right? It's 10k, but you're not drawing off of it, which really hurts. So since there's plenty of ways to already put cards under our Unison, I'm playing Raditz for the extra draw power, and it's working out very nicely. I tried Krillin at first, wasn't really a huge fan, but Krillin's still a good card for other decks that we will talk about on this channel, because I'm very excited to mess around with that Piccolo in other decks. 4 Topo Regisaid, 4 Wolfang Fist. That is our super combo, our negate lineup. This stuff works really well. Wolfang Fist, really strong in my opinion when you have Piccolo in play, and then Topo is just Topo. Even in my testing, especially because I've been testing against a lot of aggro decks, Topo's really been saving me, which is really nice. No secret rare at the moment. I'm assuming we'll get maybe some sort of mono red secret rare. I don't know, because Launch as a deck just seems to do nothing but draw, so I'm assuming they'll get some sort of boss monster in the form of an SDR. Maybe it will or won't be playable in King Piccolo. We'll have to wait and see, but no secret rare at the moment. But anyways, guys, I do want to know in the comments below what you think. I'm having a lot of fun with this deck. I do want to see your take on it. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.